Welcome to the Zombies with the Porpoise series. I am the Sinister Porpoise. Normally I would cover the strategy I use to get through a game level, but I am not going to do that today. Instead, I am going to talk about how games became political in 2015. For those of you who still need to know which level I am playing, it is Ancient Egypt Day 23 in Plants vs. Zombies 2. This level requires you to match the symbols behind camouflage zombies. Anyone who sees how well I do in this video will probably challenge me to a game of memory afterwards. Gambling may or may not be involved. In any case, 2015 saw the rise of the GamerGate movement. GamerGate, for those who do not know, came about when Zoe Quinn, the developer of Depression Quest, allegedly slept with a reviewer in order to get better reviews. This sparked ire in many male gamers who found the reporter's actions to be unethical. As someone who has played at being a journalist myself, I think the reporter should have recused himself in this case. GamerGate might have ended there, but shortly after the Zoe Quinn fiasco, Anita Sarkesian started her own feminist frequency series, detailing the sexism present in many video games, especially hardcore video games that appeal to the 18 to 25-year-old male demographic. The way in which GamerGate responded to the Sarkesian videos would forever connect them to the men's rights activism movement. Once this connection was formed, video games forever entered the political realm. What had once been a hobby of the young or people on the fringe had now become part of pop culture. When video games began to appeal to a larger audience, a new demographic of gamers emerged. Middle-aged women now buy more video games than the 18 to 25-year-old target market. Sony, Microsoft, and many developers have been slow to realize this. The only exceptions are Nintendo and many of the mobile game developers who capitalize upon this trend. Sarkesian and her GamerGator critics barely mention this when they argue with each other. Instead, they spent a great deal of time arguing over whether or not Sarkesian actually played the game she criticized. One of the games she criticized, BioShock, happens to be one of my personal favorites. In her criticism of BioShock, she ignores the fact that a female character plays a major role in the game. Like many of the people who have criticized Sarkesian, I do agree that many video games are sexist. Instead, I take issue with how she ignores the parts of the game that do not support her points. There are hundreds of videos on YouTube done by female gamers that bring up the same issue. Not a single one of the YouTubers I watched said there wasn't rampant sexism in the video game industry. Admittedly, I did not have time to go through every single YouTube video on the subject because there are hundreds of them, as I've noted before. Whether gamers like it or not, video games entered the political arena when they went from being a fringe activity to being part of pop culture. Every single gamer has entered a new era. I have played video games for a long time, and I initially watched the debate between Sarkesian and the GamerGators. When things got heated, I chose to abandon gaming for a time because I was ashamed of the actions of my fellow gamers. Eventually, I decided not to give up a hobby I enjoy because of a few bad people. I am not going to say which side they are on. When it comes to dealing with the politics that have entered gaming, you can either ignore the people who engage in it, or you can treat them like you would treat a troll in Stormwind or Orgrimmar. I usually choose to argue with the trolls, but most people put them on their ignore list. I am not going to say which strategy is correct, but people who are wiser than I am often choose not to engage the troll in the first place. And now that we have finished talking about how video gaming became political this year, it is time to watch me fail horribly at this level again. I can and should blame it on my lack of skill at such games. Anyone who can come up with a better excuse for my failures at this game should do so in the comments section. As long as there aren't too many choices to choose from, I usually do well. When there are more than 4 pairs to choose from, as is the case right now, I usually forget where the pairs are. Forgetting where the pairs are allows the camels to advance and they get closer to the edge of the screen. As every Plants vs. Zombie player knows, once the camels get to the edge of the screen, they get into your house and eat your brain. Collecting a plant from my Zen garden is little consolation for my impending doom. Getting lucky with my last 2 picks does not stop the advancing zombie horde. While relying on sheer blind luck is a strategy that works for some people, it has never worked for me. My inability to find a match for the blue wallet on the bottom of the screen results in my eventual downfall. A green clover and a blue wallet will appear on the screen as the zombies reach the edge. Once the horde reaches its goal, the screen fades to black, and the message that every Plants vs. Zombie player dreads appears on the screen. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see here, like, comment, or subscribe.